Ladies and gentlemen, Toady, I explain Rajab Butt biography fist to fall like and subscribe least go. Rajab Butt was born in Pakistan, in a modest household where traditions, family values, and discipline were the foundation of daily life. From the very beginning, she stood out as a child full of imagination and energy. Growing up in a middle-class family, luxuries were rare, but love and encouragement were abundant. Her parents instilled in her the importance of hard work, respect, and believing in oneself, values that would shape her future in more ways than one. As a little girl, Rajab was drawn to the world of television. While other children played outside, she would often sit glued to the screen, memorizing dialogues, mimicking characters, and pretending to be part of the stories she saw on TV. It wasn't just a passing phase. Her connection with acting was something deep and intuitive. Her early school years were marked by active participation in plays, debates, and cultural events where she would shine without fear or hesitation. Teachers and classmates often praised her confidence, but no one could have imagined that one day she would be admired by millions on a national level. Her family noticed her potential early on. Though they were proud of her talent, the idea of entering the entertainment industry was met with hesitation. In many traditional Pakistani households, acting isn't seen as a stable or conventional path, especially for girls. But Rajab's passion was persistent. Whenever she talked about acting, her eyes lit up. It wasn't about fame or fortune. It was about expression, emotion, and storytelling. Financial constraints and societal expectations made things harder. She didn't have the resources for elite acting schools or the right industry contacts, but what she had was even more powerful: a heart full of passion, an unshakable dream, and a work ethic that refused to quit. Even in her teenage years, she used every opportunity to perform, watch, learn, and absorb. Whether it was a school function, a community program, or a small local theater performance, Rajab made sure she was there, not just to participate but to learn from every moment. There were times when people around her doubted her ambitions. Some called it unrealistic, others dismissed it as a childish fantasy. But she never allowed those voices to drown out the one inside her, the voice that told her she was meant for something more, something greater. Entering the world of acting was far from easy for Rajab Butt. Despite having raw talent and burning passion, she was stepping into an industry that was notoriously difficult to break into, especially for someone with no family background in showbiz, no influential contacts, and no formal training. The early phase of her journey was marked by uncertainty, disappointment, and countless emotional tests. Her struggle began the moment she decided to take acting seriously. The first challenge was convincing her family that her passion wasn't just a hobby, it was a calling. Coming from a society where girls are often encouraged to choose more respectable or conventional careers, Rajab had to face questions, concerns, and even resistance. Many around her doubted whether a career in the entertainment industry could ever lead to stability or respect. With limited resources, she began searching for audition calls, often traveling alone, sometimes skipping meals just to save money for transport. She would wait for hours outside studios, standing in long queues, only to be told she wasn't the right fit. These rejections were painful, not just because they shut the door to opportunity, but because they were often based on superficial reasons: her appearance, her accent, or simply the fact that she wasn't a known face. There were moments that tested her spirit deeply. She was once told to consider changing her name to something more marketable. On another occasion, a casting agent dismissed her without even letting her audition, saying, "You don't look like a lead." Such remarks could break the confidence of any aspiring actor, but not Rajab. She took those moments as fuel, using every rejection as motivation to work harder, grow stronger, and sharpen her craft. To support herself during this time, she took up small jobs, working behind the scenes, doing voiceovers, and even appearing in background roles that offered little visibility but taught her invaluable lessons about the industry. She spent late nights watching performances of legendary actresses, studying their expressions, their control, and their timing. She practiced daily in front of a mirror, rehearsing scripts as if preparing for the biggest role of her life, even when no role was in sight. Isolation was another aspect of her struggle. While her peers moved on with their lives, graduating, marrying, or entering secure professions, Rajab was still chasing something many considered unrealistic. She faced periods of loneliness, self-doubt, and exhaustion. There were days when no call came, no opportunity knocked, and no one seemed to believe in her potential but herself. Despite all this, Rajab refused to quit. Her belief in her talent was unshakable. She kept telling herself that it wasn't about luck or shortcuts. It was about being ready when the right moment finally arrived. And so, even when there was no spotlight on her, she kept preparing for it. Every struggle, every delay, every closed door only strengthened her resolve and built the foundation for what would later become a remarkable rise. After enduring a long and emotionally draining period of struggle, Rajab Butt's breakthrough finally began to take shape, though not in the way many might imagine. It didn't come in the form of a glamorous lead role or an overnight viral moment. Instead, it arrived quietly, through a small but meaningful opportunity that demanded everything she had been preparing for. Her first notable appearance came in a supporting role on a television drama that aired on a regional channel. The role was not glamorous, but it gave her screen time, and that was enough for Rajab. With limited dialogue and screen presence, she still managed to deliver a performance that made her stand out. Directors and producers who initially overlooked her began to take note of the authenticity in her expressions and the emotional honesty she brought to even the smallest of roles. It was during one of these early performances that a respected drama director noticed her. Impressed by her natural screen presence, he invited her to audition for a more substantial role in a primetime serial. Though she didn't have a major name or fan following, what won her the role was her audition. She brought a unique depth and rawness to the character that many seasoned actresses couldn't replicate. When the drama finally aired, Rajab Butt's performance caught the attention of audiences and critics alike. Her portrayal was relatable, layered, and real. It resonated with everyday viewers who saw themselves in her character. Social media mentions began to trickle in. People began asking, "Who is this girl? Where has she been hiding all this time?" It was a slow build, not a viral trend, but it was the kind of attention that lasts, the kind rooted in respect rather than hype. This role marked a turning point in her career. It opened the door to more opportunities, offers for diverse roles, invitations to interviews, and an increasing presence in the public eye. What set her apart wasn't just her beauty or on-screen elegance. It was the emotional weight she carried into every scene. Casting directors began to recognize that Rajab could bring characters to life in a way that felt deeply human. As her portfolio grew, she didn't settle for repetitive roles. She chose characters with substance, women who struggled, who rose, who fought for dignity. With each project, she gained more confidence, more experience, and more visibility. She slowly transitioned from being the girl in the background to a commanding presence that demanded the spotlight. Yet, even as her fame started to rise, she remained rooted in the discipline and humility that defined her early years. She was always the first to arrive on set and the last to leave. She would rehearse tirelessly, ask questions, seek feedback, and keep learning, treating each role not as a stepping stone, but as an opportunity to evolve. This breakthrough phase of Rajab Butt's life was more than just career progress. It was a powerful transformation of identity. It was the moment the world finally saw what she had known all along, that she belonged on the screen, not by chance, but by undeniable merit. After years of persistence, and following her first breakthrough performance, Rajab Butt's name began to circulate more frequently in casting circles, entertainment magazines, and social media discussions. Slowly, the Pakistani drama industry began to recognize her not just as another emerging face but as a serious actress with rare depth and a powerful on-screen presence. Her rise to fame wasn't the result of just one big hit. It was the result of consistently strong performances that gradually earned her credibility. One of her early standout roles came in a serial where she played a young woman torn between family loyalty and personal freedom. Her portrayal was filled with nuance, at times quiet and subtle, and at other times emotionally charged. Viewers connected to her expressions, her voice modulation, and the vulnerability she brought to her character. This role became a quiet sensation, earning her fan praise, blog mentions, and critical acknowledgement. As her recognition grew, she was offered lead roles in higher-budget primetime dramas. These weren't just traditional love stories. They were layered narratives dealing with complex social issues: poverty, injustice, gender roles, and emotional trauma. Rajab Butt had a knack for choosing scripts that mattered. She wasn't interested in playing empty glamour roles. She wanted her characters to say something, to represent women's struggles, voices, and resilience in Pakistani society. Her next major leap came when she starred in a serial that became a national hit. In this project, she played a bold and emotionally torn character who challenges societal norms while battling personal demons. The drama aired during prime time and quickly climbed TRP charts, and Rajab Butt's name became a regular feature in media headlines. People didn't just praise her acting, they discussed her character like it was real, debated her choices, and waited eagerly each week to see what she would do next. The show's success catapulted her to a new level of stardom. With fame came greater opportunities. Directors began tailoring scripts with her in mind. She was invited to talk shows, magazine covers, red carpets, and award ceremonies. What truly stood out during this period was how she carried her fame. Rajab remained grounded, often speaking humbly in interviews, crediting her team, family, and audience for her success, and always emphasizing the power of storytelling. Among her most notable projects were critically acclaimed performances in women-centric dramas, ensemble cast productions, and a few telefilms that showcased her range. From intense, emotional roles to softer romantic leads. One of her most memorable roles involved portraying a domestic abuse survivor, an emotionally draining part that required not just acting skill, but emotional maturity and depth. Her performance in that drama was praised widely for being honest, raw, and socially impactful. During this phase, Rajab Butt's fan base expanded rapidly. She began receiving love not only from Pakistani audiences but from overseas viewers as well. From the UK, UAE, India, and Canada, regions where Urdu dramas have a strong following. Social media fan pages emerged, her dialogues were turned into reels and quotes, and fan art began appearing online, reflecting the emotional connection she had built with the audience. This fame wasn't accidental. It was built on the back of her fearless choices, relentless hard work, and her refusal to be boxed into typecast roles. She wasn't chasing viral fame. She was building something lasting, something meaningful. With each project, Rajab Butt reinforced the idea that fame means nothing if it isn't backed by substance. As Rajab Butt's career continued to flourish, her talent began to be formally recognized. Not just by audiences but by the industry itself. What began as small praise in reviews and online comments soon translated into prestigious nominations, awards, and widespread acknowledgement from senior actors, critics, and directors. Her journey from humble beginnings to national recognition became one of the most talked about success stories in Pakistani television. The first sign of formal acknowledgement came when she was nominated for Best Emerging Actress at a respected National Drama Awards ceremony. Though she didn't take the trophy home that year, the nomination itself sent a strong message. Rajab Butt had arrived, and her talent could no longer be overlooked. For someone who had once stood in long audition lines without even being seen, This was a symbolic and emotional moment, a quiet victory that affirmed the sacrifices she had made. Soon after, the industry began recognizing not just her performances, but her work ethic, character selection, and ability to elevate every scene she was part of. Her performances in socially conscious dramas earned her a reputation as an actress who not only entertains but challenges viewers to think. Her dialogue delivery, expressions, and emotional authenticity led critics to describe her as one of the most expressive faces on screen, and a powerhouse of untapped depth. Over the years, Rajab Butt received multiple nominations and began winning major awards across different categories. She earned accolades such as Best Actress, Popular Choice, awarded by a leading entertainment magazine's annual viewer poll, where she won by a significant margin. Best Performance in a Leading Role, for a drama in which she portrayed a courageous, self-made woman battling societal norms. Critics' Choice Award for Outstanding Portrayal of Social Issues, for her role as a survivor of abuse, a performance that touched many and led to real-world conversations. Rising Star of the Year, in a ceremony attended by top names in the industry, where her journey was described as a symbol of modern resilience. But Rajab's achievements weren't limited to trophy shelves. She began receiving letters from universities inviting her to speak at media and drama departments. She was called to panel discussions about women in media, and even NGOs reached out to collaborate with her on awareness campaigns. Her name started to carry weight, not just in television circles, but in conversations around culture, empowerment, and storytelling. Brands also took notice of her credibility and strong public image. She became the face of several campaigns, not just commercial endorsements, but public service announcements on education, women's health, and emotional well-being. Her clean image, sincerity, and reputation for choosing meaningful roles made her an ideal ambassador for causes that aligned with her values. Her awards and recognition were never just about applause. They were about the trust she built. Industry professionals spoke highly of her humility behind the scenes. Co-stars described her as focused, prepared, and generous, while directors appreciated her discipline and willingness to immerse herself fully in each role. Each achievement, each award, each public honor added another layer to Rajab Butt's growing legacy. She wasn't chasing fame, she was earning respect, a kind of respect that couldn't be bought or manufactured. And while many came and went in the world of television, she was slowly becoming one of those rare names that could be counted on for both quality and consistency. As Rajab Butt's name became firmly embedded in the fabric of Pakistani television, her presence began to take on a deeper, more enduring meaning. No longer just an actress known for successful dramas or emotional performances, she slowly transformed into a figure of influence, an inspiration to many, a role model to young girls, and a symbol of artistic integrity in an industry often driven by trends and surface-level fame. One of the most defining aspects of her legacy is the way she changed perceptions about what it means to be a successful actress. Rajab did not rely on glamour or controversy to stay relevant. Instead, she focused on her work, carefully curating roles that had purpose, stories that had weight, and characters that offered depth. As a result, she became known not just for her talent, but for her discernment. Young and upcoming artists frequently cite her as someone who proved that you can stay true to your values, avoid shortcuts, and still achieve recognition and longevity in the entertainment industry. Her choice of roles continued to reflect issues that mattered, whether it was the portrayal of women dealing with injustice, girls fighting for education, or wives facing emotional abuse. These weren't just characters, they were conversations. And that became part of Rajab Butt's impact. Her performances sparked discussions, challenged stereotypes, and helped bring social themes into mainstream entertainment without ever feeling forced or preachy. She made it possible for audiences to empathize with the struggles that are often ignored or silenced. Her legacy also lives in the silent mentorship she provides through her journey. Countless young women from smaller towns and less privileged backgrounds look at her as someone who came from outside the system and still managed to break through, without compromising her dignity, without surrendering to the pressures of fame. For these aspiring artists, Rajab Butt is living proof that dreams can be realized with hard work, patience, and a strong sense of self-respect. Behind the scenes, her professionalism and work ethic continue to earn her respect across the industry. Producers speak of her as someone who brings discipline to every set, who knows her lines, supports her co-actors, and elevates every project she joins. These stories, though rarely seen in the spotlight, are the foundation of her influence, the quiet, consistent leadership that sets standards for others to follow. Rajab has also started being recognized not just as an actress but as a voice. With time, she began participating in public forums, media summits, and university discussions where she shares her journey and thoughts on representation, gender equality, and the importance of choosing meaningful narratives in film and television. In doing so, she has expanded her role from performer to thought leader, someone whose words carry the weight of lived experience and earned wisdom. On social media, her influence continues to grow. Unlike many celebrities who focus solely on polished content or trends, Rajab often uses her platform to share heartfelt reflections, behind-the-scenes moments, and messages of encouragement for those still fighting their own silent battles. Fans admire her for her sincerity, her honesty, and her refusal to pretend perfection. She connects with people on a human level, and that connection becomes part of the legacy she is building every day. In classrooms, auditions, rehearsals, and living rooms across the country, her name comes up, sometimes as inspiration, sometimes as an example, and often as a dream. Young artists rehearse scenes she once performed. Students write essays about her rise. Her presence is now felt far beyond the television screen. Thanks for watching. Video.